What's up, everybody? It's SCMP here, South China Morning Post in Bangkok, Thailand, ahead of One Fight Night 12. I am with my man, the Lion Killer, Garry Tonon, back in Thailand for a huge fight against Shamil Gasanov. I think there's title implications here. First of all, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Great to be back in Thailand. Great to be back fighting again. I was hoping to get a quick turnaround and fight again soon. And, Shamil called me out a little while back. So I'm happy to have the opportunity to fight him as well. So, yeah, really excited about this one.
Do you think you get a title shot? We don't really know what's going on with the belt because Tan Kai and Tan Le were meant to fight, I think, on this card in the main event. But Tan Kai's injured. So what do you think happens if you get a victory here? How's it going to play out?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a good argument to be made for me to have another opportunity to fight for the title. And I'm really excited for that. I want another opportunity to fight for the title. I'm always going to be trying my best to get that championship. Who knows who will have it at the time, but either way, the way I look at it, I'm going to win the title, and there's just a bunch of tough guys to beat in the division that I'm going to have to defend the title against anyway. So I'm going to have to fight all these guys no matter what. So let's get the title first, and then let's knock all the guys off that totem pole.
That's it. Maybe an interim thing. What about that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, if that's an option, a title's a title, man, right? So, interim title is never as good, but you're just one step closer. So, yeah, however they're going to do it, I would love that title shot opportunity, and I think especially if I make quick work of my opponent, like I did my last fight, quick like 2-minute submission victory. Which is very possible in this matchup because, we got two tough grapplers. So, it's going to be a lot of grappling going on, makes it a little bit more likely that I can get a hold of a submission hold, right? And the guy's not going to be running away from me, that's for sure. Yeah, so I think if I can do that, I think, there's a pretty good argument to be made, like, let's get him in line for the title real quick.
Yeah, I know you beat Johnny in January, and then you were calling for something on May from Denver card. One Championships US debut didn't happen. Was it sad for you to not be part of that whole? It was a great show. I was there. It was big. Have you kind of put that behind you now, the disappointment or what?
Yeah, it's all over now, so it is what it is. But at the time, it sucked. It was like it was really disappointing to like not be involved in that card when they're for the first time One Championship was fighting on U.S. soil, and I've been with them for so long. But, it is what it is, man. I don't know if it was an oversight thing or whatever it was. I don't think it was an intentional, attack at me or whatever. I know we got a lot of fighters and stuff. It just seems like, in terms of American talent to put on a U.S. show, it's like for the very first time, it seems crazy not to choose me. But, hey, if the opportunity ever comes again, I still want it. So, hopefully One Championship makes a habit of coming back to the States and we'll have the opportunity to fight for, my fans stateside.
Well, I think the man you wanted on that card was Martin Nguyen. He sent me a message for you to give you
Here we go.
right now. He's just re-signed with One Championship, and he wanted to send a reminder to you and to Shamil, though. Let me just find it, sorry. He basically he had some not very harsh words, but I don't want to misquote him, so I'm just getting it right.
No worries.
Here we go. When it's fight week, remind these two humpers that are fighting that I've got the winner. They're both thinking they're going to get a title shot with a win here, but they've got to go through me first. How do you respond to the situation, former champ?
Yeah, man, I love that, by the way. That was hilarious. The two humpers. Man, that's great. That's very creative. So I've been wanting to fight with Martin for a long time, of course, for my own career, it makes sense to just try to push for the championship, right? All the time, it doesn't make sense otherwise, to do anything other than that. So of course, I'm always going to be trying to say, hey man, like give me that title fight, right? But I absolutely want the opportunity to fight Martin, whether it's before or after the title. So if if One Championship says, now let's do the Martin fight first, well, let's do the Martin fight first. I'm excited to do it. I want that fight whether it's before or after I win a championship. So, I'm excited for that fight. I think it's the most dangerous fight in the division, if you ask me. I think he's the toughest guy in the division, most proven. So it's something I've been thinking about since I signed with One, for my very first fight. So I'm excited to have that opportunity one day.
Yes, well, Martin is one of the OGs of One Championship and this division, but one of the new blood. He's the guy you're fighting, Shamil. How do you think it's going to go on Saturday? Because you think you're going to cancel each other out, as Martin alluded to, two guys with similar styles there. He was saying if it stays on the feet, he would pick Shamil. If it goes to the ground, he's picking you. But how do you see this fight playing out?
That's interesting that he says that. I wonder what his perspective is in terms of it staying on the feet at going to Shamil, because I feel like, you know, in many of my fights, I've kind of proven that I'm pretty good in the standing position, especially against somebody who's not going to be a standing, you know, a specialist in the standing position. I just don't think it's possible for the fight to stay in the standing position for a long period of time in this fight. Because one of the things people have to understand, you know, it's funny because leading up to the Johnny Nunez fight, they would ask me questions like this. Oh, you know, what do you think he's going to try to keep it standing? And I'm like, no, he's literally never kept a fight standing ever in his entire career. Like he takes people down. This is what this guy does, right? And I feel the same way about Shamil. Like, you know, that's his style. Even if he came in and this whole camp was like, guys, you know, we want to keep it on the feet. Like he's going to submit you. The moment things start to get dangerous, you rely on what you're good at, man. You're going to do what you've been doing for most of your career. And as soon as he takes a bad punch, kick, knee, whatever the case may be, there's a little bit of a scramble, I punch into a clinch. The moment that something like that happens, he's going to go for a takedown, and vice versa. The same thing is going to happen with me. I would say the same thing about myself. You know, I spent 16 years doing submission grappling. Like, there's no way like I'm never going to be able to stop myself from grappling somebody, in a fight. So it's inevitable for sure. I think that there's going to be a stalemate, between the two of us. I don't, because I'm very confident in my submission skills. I believe I'm going to submit him. It's just a question of when. But I don't think there's a stalemate at all. I think if anything, it accelerates the process, very similar to what happened in the Johnny Nunez fight, where like him choosing to grapple and wrestle me accelerated the speed of which he probably would have got submitted otherwise. So are you calling it a submission win on Saturday? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Submission win for sure. Man, I'd like to say first round. I think this is going to be another quick one, but we'll see how it pans out. Maybe he's more defensively savvy. I just don't think he's ever fought anybody with the submission skills that I have. So, we'll see how he deals with it. This will be the first time we're ever going to get to see it. Yes, and some other scary guys in this division, like Ilya Fremonov. I'm not sure if you saw his victory. I want to say last month it was, but very impressive against Shinny. He's probably going to be there if you're going for the belt, right? He's going to be somewhere around in your way. Yeah, Ilya's another one. I haven't been mentioning him because people haven't been talking about him in interviews. You're the first person to mention him, so it's good to have a conversation about him. But yeah, he looks dangerous. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm thinking of the correct person, incredibly great kickboxing, if we're not, right? He's brutal. Right? I mean, yeah, I think he broke his orbital last time. That was a real war against the Mongolian dude, Shinechaka. I'm not sure if kickboxing is his thing. I'm not entirely. But he's like striking wise. He's very striking. Dangerous, right? Like he throws a lot of leg kicks and things. Like yeah, he looks tough. That's a tough fight too. I said Martin's the most dangerous in the division. This guy is like definitely up there, in terms of, in striking danger for sure. Definitely looks like if you don't have, if you're not very defensively sound in a striking position, things can get pretty bad pretty fast, especially when we're talking about like getting leg kicked and things. And it only takes so many before, it changes the outcome of a fight. So it would be a really interesting test also, because I've never fought against anybody that has the skill set that guy has. So that would be a fun challenge, to say the least. But yeah, that's definitely coming my way no matter what, similar to the other guys that we've mentioned. And I think when I spoke to you in January, you were adamant to me that if you get a rematch with Tern Lee, that would go differently. How much have you improved, even since that last fight? Because I think before that, there was a long time, and do you just keep getting better? You're still quite young in your MMA career, right? And you've had a lot of time to work on things. So are we going to see an even new version of you on Saturday? Yeah, I always say this. Like, I think that I'm pretty early in my MMA career, like you said. I'm not early in my career, period, but early in MMA, and early enough that unlike a lot of guys, I actually heard somebody talking about this recently. It was some professional fighter, I forget who it was saying like, oh, hey, your amateur career, that's where you work on your skills and you kind of get together your game plan and everything like that. And by the time you're pro, you kind of have all that stuff sorted and then you're ready to go. It's well, I didn't have an amateur career, so there wasn't any time for any of that, right? So my pro career has been, getting together how my game plan works and, kind of figuring out everything, right? And I think that because of that, as you watch my professional career, it looks a little different than some other people's professional career. I think when you look at other people's professional career, you're going to see a lot more of the same because of exactly what that guy said. It's like everything got put together when they were amateurs, but like I'm putting things together as a professional, while I'm fighting, and working towards a title and all these things. So I think you're going to see rapid improvements continually for me. Even still, we've been at this for like 4 or 5 years now, but I still think like that's still relatively green in the mixed martial arts arena.
All right, and finally, I know you sent a message to your buddy Gordon Ryan's birthday the other day. How's he doing? I heard he had some health issues. How's he healing up? Is everything good with him? And are we ever going to see him maybe in one championship? I know he kind of flirted with the idea before, but it's not happened yet.
Yeah, so far as I know, in terms of Gordon's MMA ambitions, like I think he's kind of changed more towards the idea of like, hey, I'm just going to focus on grappling, that sort of thing. Like you said, he's had some health challenges over the years. It's so hard to get a gauge. Gordon's a super tough dude, as everybody knows from him grappling, but just mentally as well. Like he's just not the type of person to complain too much or to really like, express like, oh man, I'm having a tough day today or anything like that. So I don't think you get a full gauge of exactly how much he's struggling with sometimes, so it's tough, man. But I know that with that resilient personality and resilient, mental fortitude that he does have, like, there's no doubt that whatever opportunity he has to, come back and continue to compete and fight hard and everything like that, he's going to do it despite whatever adversity that there is. So when he gets all of his stuff in order, I'm sure we'll see him back and, I think he'll be better than ever. He's still young as well, like he's been doing jiu-jitsu for a really long time, but it's, he's got a long career ahead of him, if you ask me. He's already accomplished so much, already a legend of the sport, no doubt. If he never did another thing in the sport, he'd still be a legend, but I think there's more to come from Gordon Ryan, no doubt. If somehow the ambitions get shifted towards MMA, who knows? We'll see. But we could also see him grapple in one championship. One championship's putting on a lot of grappling stuff. So, maybe we'll see that one day as well.
All right. Well, we are going to see you on Saturday. Just tell everyone finally what is going to happen when you get in that ring, Lumpini Stadium, with Shamil Gasanov.
Yeah. For sure, you guys are going to see an exciting fight. There's going to be a lot of grappling when I go and fight there, but I think what you're going to see is something very similar to what you saw in the John Nunez fight. I think you're going to see Shamil wrestle his way into a submission, and that's how this is going to go. And, I'm excited regardless. This is a really great opportunity to fight, really talented, undefeated fighter who comes from that Dagestani Russian wrestling background, and a lot of people have had not a lot of great answers to that problem. And I think Garry Tonon's the answer to that problem.
Yes, let's see if Gary's got the answer. All right, don't miss this one, guys. It's going to be big.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Dom Lau here from One Championship. You are tuned into the best damn martial arts news outlet anywhere in Asia. SCMP Martial Arts, baby. Give them a follow.